Welcome back. So if you're wondering why I'm smiling so big this moment, it's because we actually have a live band in studio. And it's been such a long time. It's been a while, especially after COVID. So it's absolutely fabulous to have guests back, to actually have live music in studio, and looking forward to it. So let me get you up to speed with what is actually coming up. Now, music lovers and fans of the legendary saxophonist, flute player and composer McCoy Mrubata are said to be treated to a festive extravaganza of the Flagship Brasskap Village Festival, and that's taking place this festive season. Now, the debut event takes place at the Boardwalk Convention Centre on the 11th of December, and it is McCoy Mrubata's effort to try and bridge the gap between the contemporaries and, of course, young generation of musicians. Well, McCoy Mrubata is here in studio. What a treat. What an absolute honor and a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming through this morning.
You're welcome, Sam. Thank you too for having us. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
So I was saying how excited I am at this point, just to see you, just to see the band and, you know, all the instruments being set up. You might hear a bit of that from time to time in the background. Yeah. But, you know, how does it feel for you, you know, to just get back up to speed as we see the events happening again?
It feels great to be back, you know, in the mainstream of things, you know, because for a long time we were isolated in our little rooms and studies and just, you know, contemplating, sitting back and writing things, you know. But, yeah, we are grateful to be back, you know. Yeah.
And I think very often people would talk about, importantly, the financial aspect of what we lost during that time. But as a creative, you know, what did that do for you? Were you able to somehow find a way to maximize that space, that quiet, the silence, or was it too much?
It was twofold. You know, it was positive because one, like you say, got to sit back, contemplate, and I found myself writing lots of songs. You know, ideas were just flowing, which resulted in you know, in 2 albums. You know, 2021 release and this year's release, Quiet Please and the Strings Attached project. So yeah, it was a double-sided sword. You know, and we lost people, and some of my colleagues sold their musical instruments. So it was tough. You know, I don't want to really celebrate too much that the fact that I wrote many songs and managed to 2 albums. You know, but I'm happy to be here.
and I think that's the reality of it. It was tough to the point that people sold their instruments, and that is the tool of the trade for many, and that is really sad. But I think we're all grateful for being where we are right now. And let's talk about the festival and how that idea came about.
Yeah, the idea came about in the early 2000s, you know, hooking up with young musicians, because it's been, I love really sharing ideas with the young ones, because we need to remember, as senior musicians, to remember that we were once youngsters and following our heroes, you know. I always remember that, because one day, long time ago, I was young, following about Winston Mankungu, Robbie Jensen. Here I am now, senior guy, hooking up with Leander Madope, who's been producing my albums, and creating, you know, a platform for these young ones to interact with us, you know, because there's something that's lacking at our institutions, you know. There's something that they don't get from, you know, guys like us, you know. There's so much to learn, you know, in the bandstand, you know, rehearsal rooms, you know, you name it, you know, outside these nice institutions, which, you know, I support as well, you know. So we came up with this concept of the Brasskap, and then we started recording CDs. We are busy with Volume 4 now, and now we also having events. You know, this is the very first one. You know, this festival at Gqeberha on the 11th of December.
It sounds absolutely fabulous, but it is also a very noble thing to do, because very often, and in any industry, but I would imagine much more so here, you know, as you are trying to come in and break through in this industry, you would be desperate for McCoy Mrubata to just take your hand, you know, give you a few pointers here and there. So it's absolutely fabulous that you are reaching out to the young people.
For sure. Yeah, it's you know, that's one of the things that, that's fulfill one. I really love, sharing ideas. Of course, we need to admit that we draw from their, positive, good energies. And then we try to get them straight and narrow, because sometimes they can be all over the place. We slow them down, we show the way, and then get new ideas from them as well. So it's a it works both ways.
Yeah, mutually beneficial at this stage.
Exactly.
So let's talk about the lineup and what the festival goers can look forward to.
The lineup, we have someone who's been long in the field, as long as I am, Tamim Dluli, a bass player, producer, his own label with his band. We have Titulu Zipo, beautiful lady from Gqeberha, based in Johannesburg now. And then Dumsa Maswana, and we have Luyanda Madope and his band. And the last but not least, Gqeberha, another old friend of mine, extraordinary, bass player who has music. Mlungu is a similar thing, in King Williamstown, which is a good thing. He has his own institution, Yeah. And we were supported by the National Arts Council, and we are very privileged, to have their backing.
And then, of course, the Boardwalk Convention Centre.
Yes.
It's home, but is there more behind that decision for you to choose that as the venue for your inaugural event, as it were?
Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, it was strategic, because there's accommodation there, there's a beachfront, it's on the beachfront, and we're gonna take a dip into the wild side and stuff like that, and it's gonna be a great performance, by the way. Yeah, people must expect fireworks. My set will comprise of, a few old favorites, but most of the new stuff, that's been trending, new music, yeah.
Which is fabulous. And I can imagine some people sitting there thinking, why was I not approached? Why did I not make it? So how did you decide on a lineup? And I can imagine that must have been quite a difficult task.
It was getting emails, calls, why not me? We are right there. No, my point is, people were starting small, I gotta start with what I think is appropriate, I mean, I have to have Luyanda Madope, our producer. I have to have Benis Boikanyo. I have to, I have to start with my my favorites, I'm sorry to be selfish, people. My favorites, I'm sad that I don't have Paul Henma, but the next one will have my old friend Paul Henma. Yeah.
You're allowed to be selfish. We'll allow you that indulgence for now. But of course, for those who have missed out this time around, are there any plans on your side, McCoy, to take this around the country? What are your plans? What's the vision for this ultimately?
The vision is to have the main one during this time of the year, and then concert type of setup. We had one at the Barnyard, a month ago. Yeah, we had Ziza Mosfik and Lwanda Gogwana. So it's going to be a series of concerts which go in hand in hand with the educational side of things, workshops and master classes. So it's a, and also travel, Next year's one, I've also spoken to the Lincoln Center, whereby they will have a stream, Wintin Masalis and his team to lecture, and teach musicians this side. So we're already looking big, although we're starting very small. Yeah.
Well, it is absolutely fabulous. Titi. Let's talk. Tell us more about this relationship.
I met Titi years ago. She and her brother. I was with the late Musa Mavondla. She was still based in Gqeberha, and doing a duet, with the brother, and I introduced myself, I met them, and and I've since featured her, my second last album, 2020, Quiet Please. What a stunning singer! She's going places, and of course I know her parents, I know her mom. Her mom is also a singer. Yeah. Of course, brother, like I said, plays piano. I had to have a rose, beautiful rose among the thorns.
Yeah, absolutely fabulous. So this is, of course, what you can look forward to. McCoy Mrubata. We're going to take a quick break as McCoy scoots over to the other side, and can't wait to listen to the band and bring you this particular treat as we play out on this Friday. But let's take a quick break here on Morning Live.